Here we go again. Be honest with me. If you are tired of the Baker Mayfield contract talks, make sure to hit the like button on today's show, and let's get right into it. You're watching Bucs Breakdown presented by Prize Picks. My name is Reed Barkus. Wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching, hope you're having a great day today. An NFL insider spoke on Baker Mayfield's contract situation, gave some of his insight. That's what we're going to be talking about on today's show, as well as a little bit of Vita Vea as well. All the contract talks on today's show about our guys here trying to get extensions. And Baker Mayfield we're going to talk about first. Albert Breer talked about his situation and gave his insight. He said the reality was at the time that the Buccaneers had made an initial offer, and while Mayfield's camp saw it as far from what would be required to agree a deal, the players' side hadn't countered yet. Also, Tampa's recent operating procedure has been to do deals during camp with O-line Tristan Wirfs, Luke Gedeke, and Zion McCollum as examples. Since then, there hasn't been much progress, though the Buccaneers are prepared to dive into negotiations this week with the first day of practice set for a week from Wednesday, that is today. I think they'll get something done before week one. This isn't overly complicated. Mayfield is due to make $40 million this year, the final year of his 3-year, $100 million deal that the Bucs agreed to. So he doesn't have to overextend himself to get a contract. The franchise tag for quarterbacks projects to just over $50 million for 2027, meaning 2 tags would just be north of $110 million total. That sets the APY at $55 million per year, which is right around where Justin Herbert and Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love are. So let's take a look at the highest paid quarterbacks list that I've showed multiple times on this show. Now, like Albert Breer said, that Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford now, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, they're all there around that 55 to 52 in between there. I think Baker Mayfield is trying to tap into this top 10 list, but Albert Breer continues saying, so something in the range of $165 million over another 3 years makes sense, or a little more than that to account for inflation over the, I'm not even going to try and say that word, deals. Afro re-mentioned deals, whatever. You're not here for my grammar lessons. All right. My extension prediction has always been 3 years, $165 million, $55 million with $82.5 million guaranteed. Now, this is before training camp. I've showed this many a times. If you guys are loyal watchers, you've seen this a lot. This is what I think is before the 2026 season. After the season, that's a different story. The reality is we have a week until training camp starts. So if anything is going to get done before the season, it will have to happen soon, right? Baker Mayfield said, as soon as training camp starts, we're done. It's all ball from there. So if the Glazers, Jason Light, even Todd Bowles want to get something done, it's going to have to happen in the next week or so. So if they're still far apart, we're not going to get any news on Baker Mayfield getting a contract extension. That means we're going to have to wait for the 2026 season and then go from there. Now, let me know down in the comments section, what would you offer Baker Mayfield in a contract, right? What contract are you looking at? Is it something along the lines of mine? Is it maybe a 1-year deal again? He's not going to agree to that. Or is it something longer, like 4 or 5 years? And maybe that's why they're not super close, is what they think Baker Mayfield is worth and how long we want him on this roster. So let me know down in the comments section. I always love to hear from you guys. All right, before we continue on with today's show is actually 100% free because of our friends over at Prize Picks. If you guys have not started with Prize Picks already, you guys are missing out on a fun way to watch some sports. Today's show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app, as well as mine since 2022. Do you guys want a chance to win some money while watching your favorite sports? Get started with our friends over at Prize Picks. The app is really easy to use. For player picks, just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. That's it. Now, if you guys are following me on the social feeds feature at Reed Barkus, you can see that last night I won my last lineup. I had Chandler Simpson the more on his hits. It was a goblin pick, but he hit that. He got one. He literally hit it. And then Dalton Varsho, the less on his hitter fantasy score. It was at 4.5. I hit the less, and we got 3 on that. So if you were tailing my lineup on the social feeds feature, you would have won as well. Now, if you want to pick the winner, spread, or total, or any game on any game or fight, Prize Picks has that now too. So if you want to pick just the teams and everything like that, Prize Picks can actually do that as well. So best of all, we have a new user offer. Play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. Just use code HMA when you sign up. That's right. Prize Picks just switched up their offer. So there's no better time to join than right now. Lock in and win that first lineup. That's code HMA at sign up to get $50 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 plus lineup. Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app now. Now, Baker Mayfield definitely has something to prove in 2026, right? I actually said this on my last video. I mean, that's why I started off today's show saying, if you guys are tired of the Baker Mayfield contract talks, like the video. I'm going to remind you again to like the video if you're tired of it, because nothing is happening yet. They're still not close. No updates on it except for Albert Breer talking about it. But then Dan Pompey from The Athletic said this on Baker Mayfield. He's in the final year of his 3-year contract, $100 million deal. And while there have been negotiations, Mayfield has said they will stop once training camp begins. Mayfield, 31, is the 16th highest paid quarterback in the NFL with an AAV of $33 million. A dozen quarterbacks average $50 million or more, and it's likely it will take that kind of deal to get him to commit. Mayfield didn't have the best season in 2025, but he played with many injuries. If he can perform more like he did in 2024, he is likely to become one of the NFL's highest paid players. So this is coming from an article from The Athletic that is talking about the 32 teams and which player has the most to prove going into 2026, and Baker Mayfield was listed from The Athletic. Now, obviously, talking about the 2025 season, yeah, it was not that great, but he was playing with a lot of injuries. It wasn't terrible, but it obviously doesn't match up to his 2024 season. So it comes down to 2026. The deal will be drastically different depending on how he does in 2026, right? If we're talking about making a deal before the 2026 season, that's different. That's going to be more towards that $55 million range, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on where they can meet and the years. But if they wait and training camp starts and there's no deal done, that means it's going to be after the 2026 season. So if he has a better 2026 season, the deal is going to be a lot different than $165 million a year, $55 million, or $165 million a year. That would be a lot. I want that. But $55 million per year, right? It's going to look drastically different if he has a great 2026 season, right? So that's what we're going to have to look at as this. It's in a week. So if nothing happens in a week, I don't know. I really don't know, because if he starts balling out in the first 5 weeks and the Bucs are like, hey, we're ready to give you like $62 million per year, I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield's going to say, yeah, I don't care about the deal that I made and saying it's just ball and we're due it after the season. I'll take that right now, right? That's the reality of the situation. All right, coming up, another deal waiting to get done, right? You saw him on the thumbnail. It is our guy, Vita Vea. That's what we're going to be talking about on the second half of today's show. But do not miss a thing during the season, during the offseason, during training camp. I will have you guys covered with free Bucs YouTube videos all season long. If that sounds like a deal for you, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. You get free, fun Bucs content all season long, and you don't have to pay a dime for it at all. That's what our sponsors are here for. They make this show absolutely free for you, so you can just watch and have a good time. All right, let's talk about Vita Vea. If you guys did not see the latest news, did the Packers just give Vita Vea some leverage on his contract extension talks? I'll talk more about what that could mean after Our friends over at SeatGeek give us a great message. Like I said before, this show is absolutely free because of our sponsors, and today's show is made possible by SeatGeek. When it's time to get out of the house, there's not many better options right now than a ball game. Use code CHAT10 to get 10% off your next set of tickets. The MLB is in full swing, and SeatGeek has tickets to the Bucs games available right now. Now, if you see on your screen, you can see the Bucs have tickets available right now at $91. My favorite part about SeatGeek as well is you can see what a good deal is and what a bad deal. Good deal, that's a green dot. A bad deal is a red dot. And my favorite part of it is that you can see your view from your seat. So if you're like, I don't even know where I'm sitting, I'm just picking the best deal, right? You can actually see what your view is going to look like. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code CHAT10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code CHAT10. Just click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you so much to SeatGeek. All right, so continuing on with Vita Vea. Jordan Schultz dropped this yesterday that the Packers and Devontae Wyatt have agreed to a 3-year, $57 million contract extension with a $20 million signing bonus. Now, I thought about this, and I mentioned this on the last video, and I was like, does that mean, like, that's, like, the benchmark for Vita Vea? And I was like, you know what? Let's talk about it on today's show because I want to go in a little bit more depth to it. So let's look at Wyatt versus Vea, right? Now, Wyatt last year had a fibula injury, so he only played 10 games in 2025. So I picked 2024, where he played 14 games, right? 3 less than Vita Vea. Obviously, the stats are going to look a little bit better for Vita Vea, even though he had a half less sack than Wyatt, actually, and less TFLs. He had 2 PBUs and 13 QB hits and more tackles. But in terms of 3 games less played, and then he gets that contract extension of 57 for 3 years. It's like, all right, so let's look at Vita Vea's contract, right? He's got 4 years. This was his 4-year deal last in 2022, I guess now. His total value was $71 million. Now he's getting paid $17 million, $750K after that. And then he has no guaranteed money left, which is probably the main reason. I'm like 99% sure the main reason is because he's sitting out because he has no guaranteed money. So if he gets injured in practice, that sort of hurts his leverage, right, in trying to get an extension. And he's set to be a free agent after this season. So what are we looking at here, right? What's he going to get paid? Is this Wyatt deal what he's going to get paid? How does this change the extension talks, right? So let's look at the highest paid defensive linemen in the NFL right now. Now, obviously, you don't see Wyatt here, and you don't see Vita Vea here because of the deal that he has. I think he is the 16th or 15th highest paid right now, so he's not going to be on this list, but I think he wants to get into this list, right? I think that's why he wants that extension talk. Now, the question is, will this deal really affect Vita Vea's contract, right? Is Devontae Wyatt's 57 3-year deal going to affect maybe like Vita Vea and his agent and his camp look at that and be like, hey, that's got to be the least amount that I'm going to make, right? Now, will it really affect his deal? The real answer, I don't think so. I think he is already going to get paid more than 20 million, or I guess like 17. Like what he has right now, he's obviously going to get paid more than that. And it's not much less than what Wyatt has right now. So let's take a look at where he could fit in, right? Quentin Williams is tied with Derek Brown right now at 24. And then Aleem McNeil is at 24.25. Nnamdi Madubuike is at 24.5 as well. So it's like Zach Allen actually had a fantastic season last year, so he's at 25 as well. Jordan Davis with 26. He has that new deal. So where can Vita Vea fit in as a 31-year-old veteran, probably Ring of Honor Buccaneer, right? My extension prediction for Vita Vea is going to be a 2-year, $44 million deal at $22 million a year. That is my First off, just prediction, right? He's going to get over $20 million. They're going to do right by Vita Vea. If they don't, I would be very, very surprised. He still is producing, even though he's getting older, he's 31 years old, he is still producing at a level that warrants a good deal. And I think a 2-year, $44 million deal, $22 million a year, maybe that final year is an option, and a lot of incentives can be added to this as well with the production. I think he's a focal point of this defensive line and this team in general, and I think you want to do good by him by giving him a good deal, which I think this would be. Now, you tell me, will Vita Vea crack the top 10 highest paid defensive line list? He just misses it, I think, with that 22, right? I think the Quinn Williams is at 24. So will he crack into that top 10? Will he be more closer to that 20 range? Is it just going to be a 1-year deal? You let me know down in the comments section if he's going to crack that highest paid top 10 list. Give me a Y for yes, give me an N for no. Like I said always, I love to hear from you guys. Now, if you made it to the end of today's show, sounds like you like what's going on here at Bucs Breakdown. Give us a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching to the end of today's show. My name is Reed Barkus. Hope you had a wonderful time watching today's show. And as always, fire the cannons.